Chat Cave with Mike and Max.
Welcome back to the Chat Cave here on McGTV. That is youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Follow me on Twitter at Mike McGTV. Once again, joined by my co-host Max from Three Geeks. Welcome
What's
back.
up in the cave? Feeling all the action. We're ready. We're chatting it up. I'm feeling good.
Good. Glad to hear. I have to say, this is like the most frequently we've been putting out chat caves ever.
Yeah, man. Global pandemics and riots in the streets. Like that's it comes if there is ever a need for the dynamic duo to meet up and chat again, it's now. So like
Nice.
we're happy to do it.
Absolutely. So what we decided to talk about here today wasn't necessarily like a specific review or movie or anything like that, because there's really not much movement on that with regards to, say, movie and stuff like that with the world on fire. But we decided to talk about a topic here that we've been joking about for a while now. We're like, why don't we actually just talk about it? And Max, do you know what the topic is, or do you remember what the topic is?
Though I've consumed a few drugs since we've talked about doing this, I do still remember that we were talking about Batman on drugs.
Yes. A long-winded kind of, not long-winded, but a long kind of like look back on Batman's history with drugs. Substance abuse, or not even substance abuse, but just with substances.
Yeah,
I feel it's a very prevalent topic. To have to go back and see like how one of our greatest heroes in fiction combats dependencies on dangerous substances. So, and I'm not really, I'm not really in the mood to like really structure this, organize this. We're just kind of going over either some general things that we know about in Batman's history, or I know there's at least like one or two specific stories that tap into the prospect of him, suffering from some kind of addiction to a substance and what happens to kind of overcome it. Did you have anything that immediately came to mind for you when it came to Batman and drugs?
The very first thing is the Venom comic book. I think it's the Tales of the Dark Knight or something like that series.
From Denny O'Neil, I think.
Yes,
one of the prominent Batman writers.
It's not one of my favorite stories, but when I think Batman on drugs, I think of this. Batman gets addicted to the steroid venom that Bane uses, and or some derivative of it, and and goes crazy, and then he has to spend 30 days kicking it cold turkey in the Batcave, and he grows a nice little beard. But his 30-day beard is pretty solid.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember sort of the specifics of it too. Like the reason, like this predates Bane coming into the Bat universe. Venom actually kind of served as sort of a prelude to what was to come with Bane. But like Batman, I think he fails to rescue somebody. I think.
It's a little girl. She's like, I don't know. Can't remember who like put her there, but Batman's got to chuck like 8 big rocks out of the way to get to this little girl, and the last one, he's over there just strong manning these rocks out of the way, and then like the last one's there, he's like, one more, and he's like, and couldn't do it, and the girl drowns. It's pretty terrible. It's like really, really dark, and then he goes home and cries to Alfred, and Alfred holds it.
There's and I know like Alfred would probably have the mindset of like, you can't save everybody, but Batman's like, I should have been stronger, and because that's ultimately what Venom is. It's like a super steroid, so like he deliberately takes it with the intent of like, I need to juice up, essentially.
And he was rationalizing it as like, well, if I take the roids, then I don't even really need to work out you know, just stronger anyway. So, but then of course he spends all his time working out. So, but yeah, it's meant to be you know, a crutch or whatever. You know, if he can keep his mental state, then it's only positive things that happen.
Right.
But it doesn't exactly work out like that.
I remember one of the big visuals because I remember reading the arc at one point, but I don't retain a lot of like the details aside from what kicked it off. And this visual of like as he's like detoxing basically in the Bat Cave, like he grows like this huge like caveman beard and he looks just terrible. And he's like, he's been in the bat suit for like weeks and I'm sure he smells wonderful.
Wasn't he like eating a rat at one point in time?
Yeah, I think so or something. It was just like, just really kind of gnarly as it were. And yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, it worked for me. I never did steroids.
Yep, there you go. Kept me off drugs.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying it's like it's just an interesting prospect of like this really like disciplined sort of like not just mind but body like pushing itself to the limits and then pushing itself even further thanks to like chemical enhancement, and then that chemical enhancement ends up being a detriment to him ultimately.
Right.
Because I'm kind of breezing through some like images. I just searched Batman Venom just to refresh myself, and there's this one real like creepy image of like Batman with a huge smile on his face.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of those where he's like beating the crap out of somebody and he's just loving it, and, and then he's like, I think something's wrong.
Like that self-actualization of like, oh crap. What kind of what does kind of finally coax him out of it though? I can't recall that.
No, that's exactly it. Like when he's like full on laughing when he's like hunting somebody, he's hurting somebody, and like you know, he's like, I'm gonna hurt you a little while, you know, and he says stuff like that, like he just sees himself becoming a different person, and he like immediately knows what's different, and has to kick it. But I don't think he realized like how hard it would be to to kick the habit.
Wow.
And then also, you know, like he left Gotham for a month. Like that's just.
So it was actually a very real story. It was a very like, I mean, it had big moments. I do remember there was like a huge dude in it. It's not Bane, but like a huge dude who was like bandaged and stuff like that, and was like, take a shot at me several times or something like that. And it didn't work out. Yeah. Yeah,
like because it was the whole steroids thing, and then, you know, like because that guy was sort of like Ivan Drago, pretty much.
Did he say I must break you?
I mean, I feel like they worked it in some way.
Ultimately, was Bane just sort of like, we didn't get our Ivan Drago moment in that arc. Let's get it finally, because Bane's all about breaking him. So.
Oh yeah, no, he must break the bat.
But yeah. So I think that's the only real like Batman story I've ever experienced wherein he actively like sought out drugs for himself.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there's more like one-offs and Elseworlds and things like that where it's like, what if Batman just purposely strung himself off on PCP or something like that? But
Batman and Speedy were getting high in the Batmobile and pulling each other.
Yep, there we go. Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway, I'm sorry for that.
Anyways, that's a little bit too real of a story there.
Right. No, for sure. Dial it back. We're gonna take the Boogie Nights out of the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't feel like there's a lot of just Batman like recreationally doing drugs. I mean, like when one of your villains, you know, i.e. Scarecrow, is like his whole deal is I'm gonna get him on drugs. Like, you know, you don't really have to do them recreationally.
Well, that's actually a great segue here, because now that we've talked about a story, which I guess you'd recommend Batman Venom?
Yeah, I would. I think it's a little dated. And it was written by somebody who doesn't do drugs, you know.
Was he just a step away from calling it Batman hepped up on goofballs?
Yes, you know. So it's a little dark and yada yada, but I feel like it was written by somebody who like doesn't like it's somebody's idea of how like drug deals go down. Like,
Yeah. I don't remember it being overly preachy, but definitely not like as grounded as the story itself could be. Like not grounded with regards to like, oh yeah, the writer definitely has experience about how to deal with drugs or recovery or things like that.
Right, but no, it's definitely a solid story, and like there's just some good art in it. Like like all the scenes where Batman's just laughing maniacally is really just kind of gripping, and there's a lot of good art in there. So it's definitely worth a look.
Cool. So I'll have to revisit it sometime, and absolutely, Max is recommending Batman Venom. So there you go. I'm trying to now. You provided a perfect segue there because Scarecrow, I think, is a great kind of opening up point for this discussion, which is all the drugs Batman has been forced to take. Because, man, there's a lot of them. And let's start. The Scarecrow, absolutely. He kind of does it all. He can inhale it. It can be passed, I think, through the skin. He can inject you with it. Edibles, maybe.
I definitely, like there's got to be some point in time where like he makes a bunch of like Halloween cookies or something like that, and they're all like super pure venom, yada yada. The Scarecrow is an interesting guy, yeah, because again, like his whole deal is like I'm gonna put these people on psychedelic drugs that make them flip out, and so of course Batman has been. So many times he's been introduced to this fear toxin. Like now he like knows. He's like, okay, when fear toxin hits you, this and that are gonna happen, and you can just forget all that. Like, but then the rush comes on.
Well, yeah, then the rush, then the adrenaline hits, and oh my God, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that. I just remember like there was an older story, and one of the first Scarecrow stories, I think, because I think the Scarecrow with regards to Batman's history is not as old as say like Catwoman or the Joker. Like I think he really came to prominence around like the 50s or even like early 60s at that point, wherein Batman and Robin were first exposed to the fear gas or something, and like they were just like sweat drenched and you could see their pit stains and everything. Like they were just a wreck.
I could definitely see the Scarecrow being a product of the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's like the one thing that's always interested me about at least Scarecrow within Batman continuity is that Batman either works up an immunity to it or he develops vaccines for that stuff pretty darn quick. So Scarecrow in like this 80-some year history has constantly just to keep on like strengthening his dosages or whatever, or constantly reinventing his formula. Like it's been
1941.
1940. Okay, so I was way off. My bad.
Yeah.
It was like early 40s. For some reason, I thought it was like later. I think it was maybe just because that was probably the first Scarecrow story I ever read. But yeah,
created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane.
Cool, good.
And he
created, yeah.
World's Finest Comics #3.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. Never mind. I retract my previous statement. I'm wrong. Scarecrow was there from fairly close to the beginning. So yeah, like 2 years, 2 years after Batman debuted. Go for it.
Yeah.
Or not 2 years, 5 years.
Scarecrow's a good like cautionary tale. Like he's definitely like a PSA villain. Like. These are the dangers of doing psychedelic drugs. Like you could go crazy, and like you experience your deepest, darkest fears. Like
yep.
It's so I feel like he's definitely something like for the kiddos. I can see him in a 40s pop art sort of way.
Yeah, I feel he would embody the dangers of not just drugs but stranger danger too, because he's a creepy looking dude.
Yep.
Like, you really want to be purchasing substances from a dude with a bag over his head? Like, I don't know about that.
If it's a plastic bag, take that plastic bag off his head. He's
suffocating. Oh, man. But, I mean, that's the thing, too, is that, he's been exposed to the fear gas, toxin, what have you, so many times that it's like, oh man, you got to recognize symptoms at that point. Like I mean, I guess the drama is taken out of the story if Batman instantly is like, oh, Scarecrow, got it. But
I mean, I feel like the fear toxin definitely doesn't affect him as much, and like, because I mean, like Scarecrow has been so exposed to it that like he doesn't really feel fear like that, and like, and that's what he wants,
mm-hmm.
and so that's an interesting thing, where he can't get what he wants, like he can't get scared.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what drives him, is like scaring to create this other stuff, and he's got to see how much it scares other people, because like, well, if it's gonna work on me, then like it's gotta do X, Y, and Z to this guy, like,
right.
Before I even waste my time.
He's so burnt out that he's become the addict for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some storylines like they explore the character along those lines, and I dig that. I like the Scarecrow as a character. There's a lot you can do. His design changes, and it just like gets better and better. There's just a bunch of different awesome Scarecrow designs. My favorite one, I think, is like the Hanged Man from the animated series, not like the season 3.
They revised him.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
And that's when he was voiced by Jeffrey Combs too, so it was like especially creepy.
Yeah, it was really good
because it was the Reanimator voicing the Scarecrow, and you're just like, holy shit, there's gonna be some really dark stuff ahead here. I love too, they never showed him outside that costume, so you're like left wondering, like, is that actually a costume or is that just his face?
Right, like what happened to this dude?
Yeah. But no, it's a really cool concept in that, like, your fear, we're always talking about like fear being weaponized, whether it's for like propaganda or for intimidation and things like that. But here, where you have a character who literally weaponizes fear as a hallucinogen, essentially, like I do love that aspect of the character, and I like what you mentioned there. When they do explore a little bit of how he's basically been burnt out on his own supply, that he's seeking out.
He broke rule number 4.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh man. But yeah, there's a couple of good like Scarecrow related stories. You're mentioning the animated series. I do like a little bit of what he does. There's that one episode where Batman has been exposed to the fear toxin, but he's not fully aware of what that is. And so he's just going through hallucinations, and he drives down the road and thinks he's about to hit Robin and crashes, and he ends up crashing in Arkham Asylum's like backyard. So he's actually like in Arkham, like institutionalized.
Yeah.
With the Scarecrow. And so like that's kind of neat. And his hallucinations just get worse and worse. And he just rides out that high, essentially.
But also too, I think like they kind of evolved Scarecrow, because at first, it's just like all you felt was like fear. You just felt the fear, and it was like debilitating. Like I'm so scared. I just peed my pants. I can't move. And and they kind of do that with the I think the first time they introduced the Scarecrow on the animated series, because Robin's got the fear. He got it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And
he there was like telegrams were coded or something like that.
Yes.
With the chemical.
And so like he's got to do these. He's Dick Grayson, the greatest gymnast, aerial gymnast of all time, and he's afraid to like to swing across, and a thing he's done 8 million times. So like that was like kind of what they explored. But then once that got a little boring, they're like, okay, well now we got to start seeing like real stuff, like like Batman. He's got to be his mind has got to be fully encased in this totally real hallucination that's causing fear. Because like just him just being scared, he's like over it already. Like,
and then I know they did an episode, like I think it was on one of the later episodes with the Hangman Scarecrow, wherein he reversed his gas, and it was like when he gassed people, it actually took away their inhibitions and took away their fear. So you had like basically people doing like really dangerous stuff, like dancing on rooftops, on the edge of rooftops and stuff like that, because they weren't afraid. And like Batman, he took away Batman's fear, and essentially it was just Batman not only wasn't afraid to die, but he wasn't afraid about killing people.
Right. Yeah, and just totally, and that's just like being on Venom. Like that's the same the same effect without any like actual muscle hand. But like if it takes away his Batman, he's a really, really strong dude. So I mean, like when he hits you, if he's not like pulling his punches, that is a bad day. That is a real bad day.
Yeah. It's like you should have just stayed in bed at that point if you see that Batman coming at you. Like, how much of a disappointment would have been if, like, it turns out that they take away Batman's fear and all he's afraid of is pushing himself too hard physically, so that now he just exercises nonstop, like he's a total CrossFit bro, because
he's just there with the ropes, like
constantly, yeah. Constantly beating on a tire with a hammer or something.
He ditches the batarangs. He just brings his freaking ropes everywhere. It's like, oh, you want to mess it?
Like that, and that also would be kind of scary, but more in like the annoying sense of like,
Yeah.
Batman doesn't want to stop crooks. He just wants to talk to you about how much you lift.
Yeah, he's just looking for somebody to spot him, on the bench. Like he's like, hey, how you get back here and spot me on the bench? Safety first.
No, I do 3 sets. I do 3 sets. Don't you walk away yet. Whips out a bat rope and just get back here.
Oh man, yeah, he's got like a bat, he fires this like bat anchor point gun. It's just like blam, ties his ropes to it. And it's like,
that'll be a different conversation. Is just like, how bad does Batman really get into his workout routine?
There's a DC villain called Sportsmaster.
I mean, yeah. I was just, you don't have to explain this to me, Max. I was just watching Young Justice again. I know who Sportsmaster is.
Yeah, I want to see like Sportsmaster all hopped up on Venom with this
man.
Like, CrossFit equipment everywhere, just like, but like what he does is, like he's got the anchor point gun, but the ropes attach themselves to like innocent victims' arms, and they just start going themselves. He starts making people CrossFit all over town.
Feel the collective burn, people.
Yes. Man. There's just like, tires fly everywhere. Just flip the
tires. The city doesn't so much have like a transportation system anymore. It's just a whole bunch of like, walls and stuff. You have to jump and climb. Like it's just become it's become a parkour course.
Oh no. That's my worst nightmare. That's literally my worst.
I know. We're too old for that shit.
Oh man. Yeah. So
fear toxin. Yeah.
Fear toxin. But that was a good reverse on it too, because I hadn't thought of that when they did that episode. I do remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly I remember like Scarecrow on a train from that.
Yes, he was going to like, it's always poison the water supply or something. But I mean, that was basically his gimmick in Batman Begins, which that was kind of the low point of that film for me. Was it's like, oh, it's a poison the water supply storyline. Okay, well, I guess that is kind of cliche Batman, so we got to throw it in there. But
I mean, it's only slightly better than Smiling Fish.
Yeah, I guess the Smiling Fish is very unique, though. It's like, because then you're dealing with the unknown of like, well, Scarecrow wants to drug people, Joker wants to drug the fish, and you don't really know if the fish are edible after that, or if
they're definitely not edible after that.
Definitely not. You'll get the COVIDs from them.
For sure. They developed that stuff in a lab in China.
That's one of the many symptoms of COVID-19 that people don't tell you about. In Aquamarine life, they developed Joker-like smiles.
Aquaman's pissed.
Yeah, I'm sure. unless he had his nice swordfish steak for the evening, and then he's just all smiles.
Would that make Aquaman smile?
Probably, maybe.
If all the fish are getting it.
Yeah, he would get it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, that could be the next substance we talk about. Some Joker venom.
All right. So yeah, there's been a few different, but I mean, like, I don't feel like Joker. I feel like it's more of an acid than like a drug sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or because like there's a laughing gas.
Yeah, he does laughing gas, but yeah, he injects people with stuff sometimes.
But it's all just like ha 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 after that, right? Like it's just all straight.
I mean, depending on, there's been so many different iterations of it, like depending on, you know, if it's in the comics, like it'll kill you and give you the rictus grin, or if
Right.
it's like 89 Batman with the gas, or in the Laughing Fish stuff, that only affected Fish. Like he wasn't out to kill, or maybe not. No. He was able to infect Fish, and a cat got a fish, and that infected the cat, and then the cat scratched its owner, and then the owner died. So
Right.
it could be transferred to humans.
All through the freaking circle of life.
Yeah. I'd say Joker, gas, venom, whatever you want to call it. That's been a pretty prominent substance in Batman's mythology for decades now. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like even like in Batman Beyond, there's a good episode where, or is that the Return of the Joker?
It might have been Return of the Joker. Yeah.
Yeah, he like old Bruce Wayne gets hit with some Joker toxin,
Mm-hmm.
and barely gets the antidote in time.
Yeah. Well, he had anti venom like at the ready, just because he's like, I'm dealing with Joker. I gotta have this stuff ready.
Better go brew up some antitoxin. Like,
I mean, dude, I don't put it past old Bruce Wayne to constantly just be like, just in case, I'm gonna brew some anti venom this week.
yep, all right, for sure. Like,
Joker,
but it's
Joker's been dead for decades, but you never know.
yeah, but like I was like wondering how long into the case do you like start brewing up your anti venoms? You know, it's like okay, you know, like some guy ends up dead, and you're like, this could be the Scarecrow. So you like start brewing up your anti fear toxin, you know, like or like maybe it's 2 or 3 guys that are dead before you're like, no, this is definitely some some Scarecrow stuff going on. I need to brew up this stuff right now. You know, like how long into the case do you start brewing up the antitoxin?
Oh no, I'm just saying that's what Bruce does as like his recreational activity. Like it has nothing to do with like if there's a case going on or not. He's gonna be, you know, Bruce is gonna be in the Batcave brewing anti-venom for all the different substances, regardless.
He's like micro brewing like craft beers of
Yeah,
anti.
exactly. Anti-venoms are Bruce Wayne's microbrews.
Oh man, for sure. Absolutely.
Alfred comes down with the supplies. He's like, I thought we might try a lager this time, sir. No, Alfred.
I told you I hate lagers, Alfred.
Or perhaps an amber ale.
So terribly British. He probably wants that stuff warm too.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Tasty, Alfred. Tasty. I don't know. Alfred strikes me more as a Cosmo dude. Like,
Yeah,
I think he likes either Cosmos or cocktails.
I can see Alfred. I always pictured Alfred as a whiskey drinker though. I don't know why.
That too, or like a snifter of brandy
Yes.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. We gotta be a little classy, you know.
Also, it depends on the Alfred we're talking about. If we're talking about Beware the Batman Alfred, no, that Alfred's totally for a pint. Like,
yeah.
You'd
Yeah,
be like,
for sure.
oi, give me
And
that.
then tequila.
Yeah,
And then
and,
more pints.
and then he's getting a tattoo at the end of the night.
Yes. And
The-
somebody getting punched in the face.
Yes.
Because Manchester, you.
I mean that could be another thing we talk about here is have you ever come across like a Batman story which dealt with like alcoholism within a, you know?
No.
I'm not sure.
Not as far as Batman's concerned. Like, I mean, because there's been like a lot of deadbeat dads and stuff like that, you know, that Batman's run across. And there's been a lot of, you know, just like general misconduct with substances. But no, I don't think there's ever been like a Batman alcohol. Because like I feel like that's way too easy, and it's something he wouldn't, you know, like Bruce Wayne obviously knows what happens when you drink, and he can't be out of control. Like that's
Right.
not a thing that he would ever do. So I don't think that he would like. I don't know that any story that I've heard of where he's just like boozing it up like because he's so sad about something.
Beginning of Dark Knight Returns, he's having like a drink with Gordon to celebrate 10 years of not being Batman, and Gordon's like, hey, remember in the old days when you used to have ginger ale in your glass and you just pretend it was alcohol? Like,
And he was like, yeah, those days sucked.
Those days sucked. I'm full on boozing now, Jim.
That's true. So he had developed a little bit of a taste at that point, but he had been retired also. So like,
Yeah, he'd been out of commission for like 10 years at that point, so
for sure,
makes sense.
Oh, I mean, if you look at Batman versus Superman, he's drinking pretty heavily in that one.
That's right. Jeremy Irons, I think, makes like a crack. I think he makes a crack about like we're not going to have any wine left in the cellar because of you or something. Like,
yeah, and yeah, I think it's like he's in a gigantic Wayne vault of wine. It's like,
yeah,
Bruce Wayne run out of wine. Good one.
But again, that is Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne, who is also a CrossFit bro. So, but I mean, it paid off for him. If it wasn't for that darn Martha, he would have won.
Yeah, and it was a plot line they didn't get to flush out fully. That Batman is actually all like juiced up on Venom, on Sportsmaster freaking CrossFit Venom.
There you go. No, that wasn't Bruce Wayne at all. That was Sportsmaster. That's how we're gonna work out that Robert Pattinson's the new Batman. Is that we didn't actually see Batman. Ben Affleck was playing Sportsmaster, posing as Batman. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It makes sense.
I'm just predicting that's how the fanboys will justify it. That's all.
I like that better than what we got, so that's fine.
Sure.
We've yet to see the Snyder cut, so we'll see. Maybe he saves it.
Oh boy, I'm so glad I get to see that for free.
Oh man.
It's gonna it's gonna be like 4 hours or something. I'm gonna be like, Jesus,
mm-hmm.
buddy, you gotta.
Yeah. That's definitely something you got a 2-part. You know, you just you watch about 2 hours of it, take a break, take a day off, you know, and then come back to the other and then process that whole deal. Like that's.
I mean, if Snyder and his fans want to get it out of their system, then they'll get it out of their system, like a substance.
That's true. But I mean, it's still like this hodgepodge because like he didn't like when he mostly finished it, but didn't really finish. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. Anyway, freaking whatever.
That'll be a completely other chat cave.
Yes.
We'll get to it.
Poison Ivy.
She's done some stuff, certainly plant-based things. I know Kevin Smith had a field day with her when he was like, "Let's get Batman high." I do remember that, where it's like, hey, she just sprays him with like cannabis smoke.
She can.
She can. Yeah. I mean, she's done. I mean, you know, when she has the ability to like drug people and enslave people through kisses and things like that, absolutely.
There's a lot of she does like the love potion number 9. I feel like that's one of the main storylines they run with her. Mm-hmm. Just like, oh no, I love her. No, I love her more. You know, and if you remember the best of the Batman films, Batman and Robin.
Hey, now that is some fine CGI work to make all that love pheromone stuff wisp around that crowd.
Oh yeah,
some very fine CGI work there.
You just soak in all that 90s CG.
Without that CGI, I would have never, put it together that Batman and Robin would be fighting over Uma Thurman in a skin tight onesie. Like I never would have put that together. That they're being drugged into that.
Yeah, no, it's because the audience is pretty stupid, and I include myself. So you need that, you need that to let you know what's going on, and that's just it. It's them doing us a favor.
Other than that, so in the comics, absolutely, she's had this kind of recurring ability of making people kind of come under her thrall, so to speak, or poisoning them. I know she's done that in the movie. She did that in the animated series plenty of times. Like that was her first outing. She like basically poisoned Harvey.
Yeah,
at dinner or something. And yeah, I'd say she's a very solid. I've never read any stories about her like just being like, here's some like flower extract that'll get you really fucked up, $50.
you know, they have never done that. You know, like that's just because her character hates like humanity so much. So it's
Mhm.
like, and if you can enslave a person, like, why do you need to give him something to just get high? Like, I can
Or
just make
like,
him do whatever I want.
or if it's like a team up story with Harley or something, maybe she'll give her something just to boost her immunity.
That would be cool. I would like to see something like that. That's not something I have seen, and I think that would be pretty interesting.
Hmm.
See her doing like, oh well, yeah, like just eat this fruit, and you know, like you're gonna have a great night. Just trust me.
Would I lie to you?
Yeah. So I mean, like it's pretty good, but she, you know, I still count her as drugging the Batman.
Hmm. I'd count that as drugging. Absolutely. And this kind of provides sort of a segue to another character who's drugged Batman, and he's had a kind of permanent consequence because of that.
Yeah, the STD to end all STDs.
Yikes! Yikes!
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there. Trigger warning. Batman's been roofied.
yeah, and technically raped.
Yep. So there's that.
Hashtag me too.
Yikes!
True story. True story.
And
Okay.
because of that, like he has to now deal with a 10-year-old constant drain on his pocketbook.
Oh, dude, you're right. So it's like Batman should, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate over here, but it's like if she drugs you and rapes you and then has a kid, like, do you have to pay child support? You know, like
Well,
literally.
he's Batman too, so he's just like,
I,
the kid's probably better off with me as opposed to all the assassins in your family.
I know he can pay the child support. I know that's not the issue, but it's the principle of the thing. He shouldn't have to.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like, it wasn't even his idea to have the sex. You know, like if it were up to him, they would have never even had the sex.
I'm really surprised they have not retconned. I mean, have they retconned that yet to be like, no, it was consensual, or no, she just stole like a vial of blood or something.
Oh yeah, DNA or something.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because that makes it really squish. I know Talia's a villain, you know, but
But
I've always gotten the sense throughout the history of her character, like there's some kind of nobility to her. There's some kind of undertone of she isn't all bad like her dad, but then like she goes and does that, and I'm like, yikes.
Yeah, she's Bill Cosby.
Yeah, that's weird.
But it happened.
Oh,
Grant Morrison, thank you very much.
I mean,
Grant Morrison?
yeah, he introduced Damian, so yeah. And I already know that that's already a strike against that whole idea too, is because the result was Damian, and you hate Damian. So
I mean, like he's just a crap character. If they would have had a vote, you know, like if I could vote to have Damian Wayne like beat to death with a crowbar and then blown up, I would have.
I think he was. He was blown up for sure. I think so. But then they had to go and resurrect him. So
yeah,
like all the Robins.
Yeah, the Robin can't die. If you're a Robin, you're set. You're gonna live forever. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, you've made it.
that's like par for the position. Is that okay? In the fine print, it's gonna say when you sign on to become Robin, you are guaranteed one extra life.
At least.
So, but yeah.
I mean, that's good. Yeah, I'd take it if I was an adventuring boy wonder.
I guess, or a really entitled kid who was raised with death cultists.
Yeah, you know, whatever. I still want that extra life.
So yeah, I mean, that is just a long history too, I guess, of Batman just getting knocked out by various substances, because he has been, you know, whether it's poison gas, whether it's knockout gas, whether it's someone just sneaks up behind him and injects him. It's one of the first ones that's had long-lasting ramifications for him.
I'd like to see, like, you know, there probably is a panel of this, but I'd like to see a panel where, you know, like somebody's like hits Batman with the bear mace or something like that, and he's just like, huh, cute. And like just knocks him out.
I'm sure there has been at some point where it's just like, he's exposed to a gas. He's just like, oh, this is like number 900 and whatever I've been hit with, whatever.
I've been maced so many times.
Like the ultimate battle isn't going to be Batman versus Superman. It's going to be Batman versus Keith Richards. It's just like they've had everything thrown into their system, and they've had their blood like drained and revitalized like God knows how many times.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be the high that Batman doesn't come off of when they hit him with Keith Richards' blood.
Yikes! He's just gonna have a desire to go on tour then, all the time.
I'd go see Batman on tour.
I would too, honestly. I'm curious.
Would you be a roadie? I think I could be a groupie for Batman. Like, I mean, I would follow Batman around.
Okay.
Old school style. I'd get me a VW bus, do the whole thing.
Well, then there lies a possibility that you'd be the one to have to screen the drugs, though, that get sent his way. That would probably be a possibility. You'd have to screen the drugs.
I'd do that job too.
Someone passes a couple of rails down the line, and you're like, hold on, Batman, hold on.
Official bat drug tester here.
Yep.
Sir.
Okay, this is good. This isn't the cheap shit.
That's up to snuff. You gotta get down on that. It'd be a hard life, but a good life, I think.
Jeez. Well, I mean, we might as well throw this in there too, like other characters, because we know we've been focusing on like how Batman's been affected by all these substances and so forth, but like other characters that sort of within their stories or within their background is sort of this reliance on chemical substances of some kind.
Well, I mean, like obviously, Speedy is the main story that they kind of like tell the cautionary, dare tale of Speedy on heroin.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's a Green Arrow thing, and more than anything else.
Yeah.
Batman was on heroin at one point. Thanks again, Grant Morrison. Batman R.I.P. The Dr. Hurt was, he like captured Batman and then like forced him to take like street heroin and then sent him on the streets as a homeless guy. And that's where he developed the Zur-En-Arrh costume.
Ah, there it is. That's
that was the
Grant
one.
Morrison, that guy's weird.
I like his stuff.
It's good.
It's good, but it's weird. It's out there.
That dude is weird. Like, and no offense, like he's just on a different. I mean, like in the same way I say Alan Moore is just like, I don't understand what makes this guy's brains work.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes for good Batman stories. So
I'm just trying to think if there have been other characters in the Bat mythos. Like we mentioned, Scarecrow possibly has had a little bit too much of his own supply.
In Secret Six, the Mad Hatter gets high on hat. Like he'll put on his own mind control hat, and it's like just set to bliss.
Oh, interesting. So it's not so much a chemical thing as it is just like he's stimulating his own brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna count it. There's this excellent panel. I don't know out of exactly which comic it is, but it's Secret Six for sure. It's the Mad Hatter on this giant hookah, and it's like all hats and stuff like that. It's a hookah, and it's all the smoke is there, but he's all like his eyes are rolled back. He's on a hat. Like it's great.
Oh, that makes sense too, because Alice in Wonderland, like if he's taking on, so he's like, "Fuck this! I'll be the caterpillar."
Yes, yeah, it's exactly that.
Okay, I'll have to search that out now. Mad Hatter.
It's one of my favorite panels of all time.
That's interesting. God, has there ever been a case where like Man-Bat's like, man, I really got to be Man-Bat right now?
I think every time that Man-Bat was Man-Bat, he's like, I got to be Man-Bat right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Yeah. But is it like he constantly craves like the serum or something like that?
Like, man, I could just, he's like sitting through, like, he's in line at the DMV, like, oh, God.
God, I need to. He's like scratching at himself. He's like, I need to be
No,
back.
I don't think they explore Man Bat that far.
Oh,
But
man.
that's another one though. I mean, like that's straight up like juicing to get freaky naughty.
Yep. Bane, absolutely addict.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of bad villains are on the substances. That
Yeah.
is.
Well, he kicked it for a while. I know in the comics, like he
Hmm.
went clean and then when he went clean, he like helped out Batman for a while. Except he was
Yep.
more like the Punisher than anything else, and Batman was like, we don't do that.
He's like, stop me.
And I think for a while it was a weird story too, because like Bane was living at Wayne Manor because there was a possibility that he might be Bruce's brother via Thomas.
What
so-
in the name of
and-
Jerry
and-
Springer?
And Bruce was like, all right, I know you broke my back years ago, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on this.
I know you broke my back and you're a drugs and weapons dealer, but yeah, maybe we're related. Maybe
Hang
I've
out.
always loved you.
Jeez.
Maybe, bro. Oh my goodness, that would be terrible. That is terrible story writing.
I can't. It might have been good. I don't know. It depends. I can't remember the exact like payoff of it. It might have been a Ra's al Ghul plan or something. I don't remember.
Oh, there we go. The age-old Ra's al Ghul plot.
Ra's al Ghul, something of an addict because he always needs to be dipped in them pits.
Yep, for sure. I will count that also. That is the truth. He is hooked on pit, bro.
Watch is that an actual name for a substance out there? Like,
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Oh,
let's see who else who else out there have a dependency on substances. I don't think any of the Robins have had drug issues.
No, other than like being exposed to the harmful chemicals in the line of duty. No, I don't think they've had any like actual problems with drugs.
Yeah, like if anyone in that lineup of Robins would have a drug problem, it'd probably be Jason. But I'd forgive him a little because he's been through some shit.
Yeah, I mean, like they dipped him in the Lazarus, or as far as the I think it would have been better if he just like came back and they never explained it. They're just like, where did you come from?
Yep, I'm just
Don't
here.
worry about it.
Deal with it.
And that could be. I feel like that's something you save for the the big like that's like the Trigon coming back, like sort of like big event deal. Like that would have been better.
You mean? You mean you weren't a fan of Superboy Punches Space?
Yeah, no, Superboy punching time, space and time.
Space and time
is no. I'm not a fan of that. I can't get behind it. And that just makes me like, because I've never been a Superman fan because he's too powerful. And then it's like Superboy punches time, and I'm like, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The guy can actually punch time. No, it's just not cool. That's too powerful. At that point, you're too powerful.
I'm just trying to think of other stuff too. Has Batman ever, I don't know if this has ever come up, but like, has he ever doused himself with kryptonite? If he's had to take on Superman, has he ever like injected himself with kryptonite or anything like that?
No, that's more of a Lex Luthor deal.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, Batman is definitely like he'll rock kryptonite, the ring. Obviously, he's got the ring in the vault, so they use that a bunch. But my favorite Batman fighting, doing a weird thing to fight somebody was the Yellow Room in All-Star Batman and Robin.
Oh my God! Yeah, I remember that, to fight Green Lantern.
Yes, that was some of my favorite stuff. I was totally down for that, and it's.
It wasn't even that much of a fight either. Like it was just Batman and Robin gaslighting Green Lantern for 50% of the comic.
And also too, like it made Dick Grayson more of a more of a real person because, like, Dick Grayson goes nuts and almost kills the Green Lantern.
Like he
And,
breaks his
like-
trachea or something. I was like,
Yes. So no, I'm totally down for it. I thought it was awesome.
there you go.
But yeah, no, I don't think there's too much more of him, like, or too much more drug abuse as far as like they use it, like if he's fighting some slumlord, who's peddling drugs and yada yada yada, they'll use drugs and stuff like that in Batman stories. But
Oh
I don't
man,
feel like any of his.
you made me
quote-
remember something that really sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so back in the day, there was this fan film,
Oh, here we go.
and here I'll give it its kudos right now. It was really well shot. Like it was like a professional. It was like semi-professional looking, but it was called The Death of Batman, but it was basically just like Batman gore porn, where this dude who was strung out on heroin captured Batman and like tortured him for weeks and had him strung up in a warehouse and like fed him weapons grade heroin and stuff like that, and then killed himself. And that guilted Batman enough to want to kill himself with an overdose. And that was the fan film.
Huh.
And I'm like, man, this looks really well shot. It's just a shame that this story is terrible.
Yeah.
Because it's like the reason why the guy was the addict was torturing him was because Batman busted up a drug exchange years ago, and that guy happened to be like an observer, like a witness, but Batman didn't discern the difference, so he arrested him too, and that apparently like the witness was sent to prison as if like the trial just went to shit immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, like he had no alibi or anything like that.
Like it was just like
a completely law-abiding citizen, first offense, and like he's with all these other hardened criminals for some reason.
Yep.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Totally.
That's where I was like, oh, this is terrible. You're just trying to be preachy now about why Batman's bad.
It's like, no, I'm not bad. Batman got the wrong guy. Batman doesn't get the wrong guy.
Nope.
Send this guy to jail.
It's like, oh, okay. But no, that I do remember that now. Oh. The guy who played Batman didn't look that great too. He was like a little bit more on the portly side. So it was like this portly Batman being fed heroin, and you're just like, okay.
It would have been good. I think that story is good for a different hero, like, like a lesser hero, maybe.
Like
but
who?
no, it's, who would that work for? I would like to see that story, and then he kills himself at the end. Huh.
It's gonna be a hero you don't like. I know that all much already.
No, I'm trying to think of who that might work. Like Wildcat, maybe.
Yeah, a more grounded hero. You mean like someone
Yeah.
who doesn't have like gadgetry and millions at his disposal?
Right, like real shit would happen to, and then like maybe some strung out idiot could capture.
Yeah, because essentially Wildcat's a boxer,
Yeah,
right?
that's what he's got going for him, and then like good on him for getting out there in the struggle, but also you can tie that guy up and get him strung out on heroin.
Yeah. I really can't think of anything else substantial with regards to. I mean, aside from stuff we've already gone over, like in other media, the fear. I will say I did kind of like the way they represented, say, the fear gas in Batman Begins. As a hallucinogen, because those were some trippy. I was never actually scared of any of the actual hallucinations, but they were trippy. So
Yeah, and the Arkham Asylum series of video games, they do some pretty good cutscenes with the fear toxin and
there's like whole levels dedicated to the fear toxin.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. But like when you're going through it, I feel like it is a pretty good, like, creepy, weird experience. So that's pretty cool too.
Yep. And then, even in the first game, like Batman's on, what is it, Titan? That Titan formula?
Yeah.
But I don't think that ever really factored too much into the gameplay, because he gets drugged with it like at the very end of the game or something.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not like it's not a huge deal, but or a huge amount of time
Mhm.
that you devote to Titan Batman or no, it's Titan Joker.
Titan Joker, which
But
I'm just gonna be honest here. That last boss fight is kind of lame.
yeah, but it's like the end of the game, and it's like, okay, I had to do something to end the game, so there it is, and then now everyone's captured, so that's pretty good. But like that, there's a Scarecrow fear level in every one of those games. Like in each one, there's a level that you have to deal with that. So they definitely knew that, like, and people like it, obviously. So like they definitely incorporated it into every one of them. The experience is usually pretty good.
I love that in Arkham Knight, essentially 75% of the game is a fear hallucination for you.
Yeah, like, oh my god, I'm trapped in
Yeah.
stuck in Arkham Asylum with no stuff.
Well, and also like you have Joker as your imaginary friend, so you're clearly tripping balls. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want to remember. We didn't go over this character, Batman Who Laughs, a pretty recent addition to the mythos.
I am not a fan of this. I'm not a fan of like that whole deal they did of like Batman who's got the Flash powers and Batman who's Superman. Like, I thought that was the dumbest shit ever. You cannot give Batman superpowers.
Well, that's why.
Crazy.
Well, that's why they shit. That's why that was basically the core of the story. It was like, here's why this doesn't work.
Right. It was just like I didn't need it, but okay, so maybe I'm a huge nerd and maybe I thought about this too much. And like you sue me, but no, it's just uninteresting. It's completely uninteresting to me because once you give Batman any sort of superpower, it is OP boss level. You should never do that, especially if you can run through time. That's done.
Well, that's the thing. It's like all those other characters. Yeah, they were kind of forgettable for me. But Batman Who Laughs, the one who kind of stuck through it, like I actually find he had his own like kind of origin special, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of neat because it takes place in that, was it the dark multiverse or whatever, where nothing goes right.
Right.
All these universes are doomed to fail anyways because they're in the dark multiverse. And so like basically Batman Who Laughs world, Joker has blown up like 90% of the city. He's lining up citizens just to shoot in front of Batman. And Batman has had enough and he just outright snaps Joker's neck. But then it releases the chemicals within Joker in a gaseous form and Batman inhales it. And so slowly over time, he becomes the new Joker.
All right.
He's
very, not terrible. Not terrible.
Yeah. He's very calm and collected about it too. Like he has all the Bat family like meet in the Batcave to be like, by the way, everyone, I've been exposed to this thing, so I'm gonna be locking myself in here. So Gotham, I leave it to all of you guys. And they're like, well, thank you for trusting us with this, Batman. But
and then he gets out.
No. Well, here's the whole deal. They're basically like, what's to stop you from figuring a way out of here? He's like, oh, I already have. And he like turns around and shoots them all with like machine guns. Like just straight up massacres the whole Bat family while he's there.
Okay, maybe I do need to read this. No, I heard about it. It's like, oh, they give Batman all the powers and it's Joker Batman. I was like, this is stupid.
No. He doesn't have like superpower. He's just Batman without his filter, without his moral filter, and is completely nuts. Like he's in the
origin story.
He's in the Watchtower, and he's pretty much laid waste to all the Justice League except for Superman and his family. He throws some kryptonite at Lois Lane that makes Superman and Superman's son like tear her to shreds. I'm just like, Jesus. So yeah.
Okay, I do got to give this a look.
It's ridiculous, but it's like,
yeah. But I was just like, if you give Batman the Flash's superpowers, that is it. That is game over for everyone. Whatever he wants to happen is going to happen at that point. Like that's absurd. There's no story there. That was my problem with the whole thing. There's no story that's interesting, but apparently there is. So check it out.
Because they ended up like here. They showed why that concept would kind of suck as a lead concept. So they're like, these are all the hired guns for like this demon bat god from the dark multiverse that's going to use Batman as a portal into our universe or something. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read it. Every cover for the comic looked like a death metal album though, so I'm down with that.
Yes, Metalocalypse Batman.
There you go. So, but yeah, I don't know. There's not much else with regards to Batman and drugs, at least within his own mythology. I'm sure there's been plenty of jokes about Batman being stoned or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's got to be a bunch of, like, or fan art or panels that are, just Batman, Batman slapping the Joker, like, give me another doobie, son. Like,
oh, man.
Slapping Robin, rather, that freaking meme that's always.
Yes, the bat slap. Oh, I mean, like Batman 66. He gets gassed all the time on that show. Him and Robin get gassed all the time.
Doing some bat dance.
Yep, I'm sure. Wait a minute, was that under the influence of something? I mean, maybe it was for Adam West, but in the story, was that under the influence of something?
I think it might have been.
Where he does the bat toozy.
Yeah.
I'll have to revisit.
Sure he was influenced in some way. And again, it was the 60s, so,
Perfectly acceptable. But, yep. I think that's as far as we've taken it with Batman and drugs.
Yeah, that's all I got.
But
I mean, he's had an episode of Chat Cave's worth of drugs over his 75-year history. So I'd say that's pretty good. Staying on the straight and narrow.
We definitely don't want to overindulge.
Right?
Yeah, but just tap into it slightly, get a sense of what it's about, and then make up our mind if we want to come back to it or not.
Like responsible adults. Yes.
Not even a good comparison. I'm so sorry.
All right. So I've been Max.
Yeah, and I've been Mike, apparently.
And then find my stuff at 3geeks.ninja. You can check us out, 3 Geeks Podcast, on all of your podcast outlets. We're on Anchor. We're on, iTunes, or is it even iTunes anymore? Apple Music,
yeah,
and Stitcher, and a bunch of other stuff. So check us out. Again, it's the coolest website on the internet, 3geeks.ninja. We are sneaky like that, and yeah.
And yeah, you've been watching To the Chat Cave here. YouTube.com/MikeMcGTV, on Twitter @MikeMcGTV, also on Anchor.fm/Katie-Michael for the One and Done podcast. There'll be some new stuff coming up there very soon. We just tackled another show, and I'm in the process of putting those episodes together. And I think, Max, you will like what we're tackling next.
Ooh. Can we get like a super spoiler secret?
That's okay. Everything will be shiny, Max. Everything's shiny.
Excellent.
So there you go.
All right, I'm down. Yeah, all right. So catch us, same chat time, same chat channel, Mike McGTV.